I like funky wine, I like funky food. I like funky times.
Sounds good. Welcome to Boise.
In the heart of downtown Boise, Idaho, there's a small but vibrant neighborhood with a uniquely rich heritage and delicious food.
We're standing on the Basque block. It's Grove Street between 6th and Capitol. It's really kind of the central hub of the Basque community.
The Basque block is home to Boiseans who trace their roots to the Basque country, a region in the Pyrenees Mountains between Spain and France.
There is no other Basque community in the United States that has these institutions, right? That has people working full-time being Basque.
We've got 3 restaurants. We've got the only Basque museum in the world outside of the Basque country. We've got a fronton. We've got the oldest Basque center in the Americas.
The community keeps many traditions from the Basque country alive. Traditions like music, dancing, food, and a sport called pelota.
This thing seems very hard. Exactly, slightly painful.
Makes the sound of a baseball, bounce like a baseball, and it hurts like a baseball. If it is Basque, it has to hurt.
Can't wait.
Despite the pain, I took great pride in scoring at least 1 point against Toto. After an intense match on the fronton, I headed to my next stop on the block, the Basque Market.
We offer all kinds of products from Spain and the Basque country. We have over 150 wines. We have food products, so you can grab and take home and make your own goodies. But we're also a restaurant, so you can come in here and get lunch. We cater, we do cooking classes, all of that out of our little shop here.
Owner Tony Agorin was kind enough to invite me into his kitchen to learn how to make one of the market's most popular dishes.
Croquettas are a thick bechamel that has a flavor added to it, meaning some kind of meat or vegetable. Then it's dipped in egg and breadcrumbs, fried. Around here we call them deep fried bites of love.
I love love.
Yeah.
How do we start making love?
I've got milk over there just kind of warming up. I'm gonna go ahead, turn on a little heat, and add our butter.
When the butter is melted, Tony adds chopped chorizo, a signature Basque sausage made right here in Boise.
At this point, I'm trying to release that flavor from the chorizo so that it can go throughout the croquetas. Next, I'm gonna add our flour and then give it just a little bit of time so it can kind of cook out that flavor of flour.
When the raw taste of the flour is cooked out, Tony adds the warm milk.
You wouldn't believe how many people think croquetas are mashed potatoes or cheese, and
really?
most of them have neither.
The bechamel simmers for a few minutes until thickened.
We're gonna put this into a pan. From here, we're gonna set it in the refrigerator and let it cool. This I made yesterday, cooled for about 24 hours. Notice the firm. You're gonna want a croqueta about the size of a walnut.
Okay.
And then you're gonna put that into your egg mixture.
All right.
Or you can go kind of more oblong.
Which
Heck, you
shape
can even
should-
do a swan.
A swan. Yeah, I'm good at making croqueta swans.
The colder your hands are, the less sticky. I think my hands are hotter than yours.
I chilled my hands before we started today.
That was smart.
Okay.
And then from here, we're gonna pour it through this strainer to continue the process with the eggs.
That's so clever. Usually that's the worst part of a process like this when you're breading something is getting your hands stuck in the egg and then getting in the flour.
Yep. And then from here, it goes to breadcrumbs.
Okay.
We're gonna coat the croquetas, and then they go over here, and then we just keep going.
All right. So we'll be here for a couple more hours.
Well, it depends on how fast you can roll.
All right, so we've got a few croquetas formed up. What's our next step?
Our next step is we fry them up.
So I could eat?
You can eat.
All right, let's do that.
Let's do it.
The croquetas are fried, and in just a few minutes, they're ready to eat.
It's so good. The outside has got that nice little panko crunch. The inside is nice and molten. Not so much that it spills everywhere, but it's just really
Creamy.
creamy, yeah. Some people say creamy. Yeah.
So I think the consistency is perfect on these. Kind of what we're normally going for.
I love it. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the paella you do here on Wednesdays and Fridays.
So every Wednesday and Friday, we make paella outside. Doesn't matter the weather, doesn't matter the time of the year. Everyone stands on the outside of our fence, and they come by one at a time, and we serve it out of our paella pan.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
When the paella pan is up to temperature, he adds onion and 2 types of chorizo. Next in are green peppers and a whole lot of garlic. It's then seasoned with paprika before the olive oil is added. Then, Valencia rice, which is cooked with white wine and a broth seasoned with saffron. When the rice has absorbed most of the liquid, Tony adds a layer of shrimp, then mussels and clams. He distributes the seafood carefully to ensure each customer gets an equal portion. When the seafood is nearly cooked through, Tony adds green beans, roasted red peppers, and seasoned chicken thighs that he's cooked through ahead of time. And with a final garnish of lemon wedges, the massive paella is complete. A line forms around the block in anticipation of the twice-weekly feast. Tony and his wife, Tara, methodically serve each of their patient customers. And finally, it was my turn to dig in.
One of the great things about paella is when the rice is perfectly cooked. The flavor of the seafood is really leached into the flavor of the rice. It's fantastic. It's big chunks of chorizo. You can see how popular this dish is with the line stretched down the block. People just come out for it, and for good reason. It really tastes super delicious.
The Basque market is many things, but at its core, it's a love letter, written in recipes from Tony and his family to the community that he calls home.
I feel like down here, this is like a second home. You know, you grow up here as a kid and you're saying hi to people and you're talking to people and kind of know where you're from, where your roots are. It boils back to like family and that history of where you came from.
As is tradition, the completion of one Basque meal meant it was time for the next. For dinner, I went to Anot's, a tidy Basque restaurant that specializes in house-made chorizos, prominently displayed in the natural wood dining room. Its chef and owner, Dan Ansatagi, is a pillar of the Boise Basque community, having had a hand in establishing the Basque block and its many businesses and organizations.
Anot's is a Basque restaurant. We've been here since September 20. Opened up in kind of a quiet time, and it's been fantastic. Making a lot of Basque food and hopefully making a lot of people happy.
In the kitchen, Dan taught me how to make Basque chorizo based on a recipe passed down from his grandmother.
Chorizo was how we always grew up saying it. But I don't think there's a correct pronunciation. There's just a regional pronunciation.
The recipe starts by breaking down the pork shoulder.
I was lucky enough that in our family, as in a lot of Basque families, it was made at my grandmother's house. It would be a family affair, just making the chorizos. Pork shoulder normally is around 80-20 lean to fat. This one looks like it may be a little more like 85-15, a little bit leaner. And so what we do then is we're adding pork back fat so that we'll have right around that 65-35 of lean to fat that we'll use for our sausages. From here then, everything would be brought down in temperature. It's preferably ground at around 32 degrees.
With the meat now firm from chilling, it's time to grind. The lean meat is ground coarse, while the fat is ground fine to give the sausage a consistent texture and a fuller chew.
So we've got from this, now we have our lean that's at this much coarser grind, and then our fat that will, as long as we keep that nice and frozen, it'll separate wonderfully.
While the meat cools, Dan shows me the ingredients for his signature chorizo sauce.
3 ingredients. We've got salt, fresh garlic, and the choricero pepper. And so we have these beautiful peppers that were grown here locally. What we do is we then take out the stems, as many of the seeds as we can. We don't have to get them all out. It's not as big a deal. These will go in water. It can sit in that water to reconstitute anywhere from an hour to overnight. Those go in a food processor, and we end up with this beautiful sauce.
The ground meat is mixed with the sauce and allowed to marinate overnight.
So what we've done is we've just added the sauce, mixed well, and now we're ready to stuff. You're natural, Bryan.
All right. And you would typically do this by yourself?
Usually you do this by yourself, yeah.
In the privacy of your own kitchen.
That's right.
It's a very romantic art.
Oh, yeah. So we're getting close to the end now. And we're going for slightly larger than a bun size. We like to hang these for at least 24 hours before using or selling. So there we've got our whole setup.
Oh, look at this. Sorry. Look at this move right here.
Yeah, so we just do, it's like pigtails, right? Pigtails.
I'm bald, so...
So then that'll hang.
Nice.
And then these will change over. You'll see a difference by the end of the day, even with the ones that are hanging right here.
We were joined by Dan's daughter and Ansat's pastry chef, Ellie Ansatagi.
I do kind of do front of the house work, and then I also do the pastries and the desserts at Ansat.
And you enjoy the food as well?
I love the food.
All right. Dan, why don't you tell us what we're going to start with here?
We're going to start, I think, with the chorizos. Most everything here, or a lot of the things here, are based on something to do with the chorizos.
It's a ton of flavor. Yeah, you can taste the pepper paste coming through. It's a nice hit of garlic. And you get some nice pops of like lean meat in there as well.
Right. We try to get that kind of the juiciness, as well as the flavor that we get from the added fat.
Yeah.
One of the top sellers on the menu is clams and mozak, a slightly different style of chorizo infused with roasted garlic and rosemary.
What we're doing is we're just cooking the motzak a little bit ahead of time. They're going to go about 4 minutes in the water. And what that does is it cooks those to a point where it makes this process much quicker. We're going to take one of the motzak. We'll go ahead and we're going to just cut this into the sizes that we want to use. And here what we're going to do is the whole thing's going to be on high. We can add our chorizo to that. We're going to add a little bit of garlic. And then we want a little bit of a sizzle out of that before we add our clam. So we're ready to go there. We're going to add the clams. Now we're going to go about probably a 1/4 cup of white wine and a 1/2 cup of clam juice. Now we're going to add a little bit of pimento. It'll change the color of that. Want that to reduce just a tiny bit, just to kind of concentrate up. And then we're going to do our cornstarch slurry. And again, this is just cornstarch with white wine. You can see already what that does. It just takes a second. Then we'll just add a little parsley to that, and there we go.
Yeah, those little pimento, the little peppers, actually lead some of the flavor, give it a nice acidity. Yeah, I love that, the wininess. It kind of cuts any of the richness from the olive oil, but you still get that lusciousness in the sauce. That's really fantastic. I really like that.
It's nice. It's kind of a run together of a couple of dishes. We see mussels used a lot in the Basque Country, but it's kind of what that take is, the things that I'm kind of drawing from that.
Yeah. So Dan, it seems like you've been very instrumental in pushing forward the Basque culture within the city. What does it mean to you to be Basque?
I think that it's just one part of me that is the part that I get to kind of remember my ancestors. Everyone works so hard in our family to make a better life for the next people. And then all of these wonderful things came along with it. There's the language and the music and the dancing and the food. But really, to me, it's just that memory of those wonderful people that got us here.
The Basque Block is more than a neighborhood. It's a shining example of preservation.
Become a huge part of Boise culture and Boise tradition. And anywhere you go in Boise, people know about the Basque. They know about Basque food. They know about the Basque Block.
It's where the past meets the present.
Being Basque just is that culture, it's that connection. Whether it's in the food, whether it's in the music, you never are alone, basically. You always have family around the corner.
And where our community celebrates their common bonds through sports, music, dance, and of course, food.
I want to send a special thank you to Dan and to Tony and everybody we met here in Boise this week as we celebrated Boise Basque culture. It's a wonderful time experiencing the food, the music, the dance, and even a little bit of competitive handball. It still hurts. If you like what you saw, hit the like button and subscribe and let us know down in the comments what you thought.